Are you struggling with weight loss despite trying everything? You're not alone. Welcome to the Real Results for Life podcast, where we dive deep into the secrets of sustainable weight loss. I'm your host, Jamie Young, founder of Real Results Medical Weight Loss, located in Kennesaw, Georgia. With over 10 years in the medical weight loss industry, I've successfully guided hundreds of clients to their dream weights. In this podcast, we will explore the keys to sustainable weight loss and make healthy choices an important part of your lifestyle. At Real Results, we offer comprehensive solutions from online programs and medical appetite suppressants to personalized one-on-one coaching. Join me on this transformative journey to discover and embrace the best version of yourself, ensuring you look and feel great both from the inside out. Together, let's achieve lasting results, starting today and continuing for life. Hello, Josephine.
Hello, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
Yes, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Man, you have done so well with the Real Results program. You look fantastic. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Your before and after pictures are incredible.
I know. It's like, who is that person?
Oh my gosh, I love it. So for those of the listeners who don't know you, tell us about you and what you do, all the things.
Sure. So I actually am in human resources. So I've been in, I can't believe when I think about it, it's like 25 years. I'm going on 26 years. So I always say, if you love people, yes, you need to know that, but you also need to know about the business. So it's kind of a good blend of both. But I've been in human resources for a long time. I actually manage right now different territories throughout the United States and Canada. So part of the work is also travel, but really it's heavily on understanding the business and supporting also the employees and making them be the best of themselves too within the organization. But yeah, I'm a director of human resources for a telemedical company who deal in things like pre-boarding screening and things of that nature. So it's also something that makes you feel good about yourself as well. Yeah, so that's what I do on a day-to-day basis.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go back before we met because we're really sharing your story here. Tell me about your life before Real Results from the weight loss perspective. Tell me your history there.
Jeez, where should I start? So I don't want to give you the long version of it, but I will tell you from my struggle, I think with weight, it's unique in the sense that it is really medical driven. And what I mean by that is go back to when I was 17, I was diagnosed with lupus. And I will tell you, nobody in our family had ever even heard of it. They didn't know what it was about. And I was 17. You're in high school. You're not really thinking about an illness of any type. My family didn't even know much about it. So I think, you go into that being naive, right? And I hate to say it, you start going into your high school years where really what you look like is very important. So it was fine until I think I was diagnosed. I really got sick when I was 19. That was my freshman year in college. I just had finished my freshman year. I started having kidney failure. And I think that's really where my weight gain, loss, my perception of myself really started to change, right? You have to think about also the phases that you are at your lifetime at that time. I mean, a lot of my friends were going away to college and I was struggling with chemotherapy to make sure that my kidneys were okay. But that is when everything started to change for my weight. I will say, one memory I have, I had gotten sick and my mom and dad rushed me to the hospital and they checked me into the hospital and they said, Josephine, your kidneys are shutting down, so we need to give you cortisone intravenously. And I remember within 24 hours, I had gained 20 pounds of water weight. Well, your body cannot actually absorb that. And so what's happening is that my legs and my stomach just blew up. I looked basically like I was pregnant and water was shooting out of my skin because it had been stretched so much. And I think at that point, I realized this is going to be a very tough battle, right? This is something I'm going to have to either absorb and take care of myself, or it's going to be something that's going to impact me. I will say the other part of that is my fantastic family. I mean, I have a brother and a mother and father that are fantastic. And why I say that is that something at that age can really define who you are. And I think the one thing they always told me is that doesn't define you. You're still fine. You can work. You can go out. So they never gave me an opportunity to feel sorry for myself, even though I was going through a lot. Again, my friends were going on away to school. I was struggling to make sure that I could actually eat and that I could be able to, my kidneys can function. So it gives you a different perspective. But the weight gain, I would say, started at that point. So it was from 19 years old. I gained the weight 20 pounds overnight. And then I had to do a series of chemotherapy and high doses of prednisone And so my body never kind of recuperated from that. So from there, and now I'm 56, so you're talking a long journey of where I would gain weight. And then as soon as my kidneys would function well, they started taking me off with the prednisone. So I would lose weight. But in my mind, because I was in that 19, 20-year-old, I wanted to look good. So I would just take myself off medicine, which I highly recommend no one does because that made it even worse. But you don't know any better. I just wanted to get back to looking normal. My face was very big. They call it the moon face because of the prednisone. So anyway, so fast forward to, I would say several years ago, there was a lot of chemotherapy. Every 2 years, I would have to do chemotherapy again. And I think when I was 23, I finally decided I'm done with this. I don't care what I look like. I need to concentrate on my health. And that's when I actually went through 2 years of doing everything I was supposed to do, taking all the medicine, doing the chemotherapy, taking all the steroids that I needed to, not taking myself off and self-medicating in any way. And that's when I think I gained the most amount of weight. I was lucky and fortunate to find my husband when I was in remission, who didn't care about my illness. And, he's a fantastic man, person, great spirit. And I realized that it's not about my looks. I have more to give than that. But I will say I peaked at 250 and I said, I can't do this anymore. So in 2017, I started the journey of doing the gastric sleeve. So I went through all of that, and 2018, in February 2018 at 250, I did the gastric sleeve. Then they go through the honeymoon stage, I say, 2 years of that. I did get down, I think the lowest I got was around, I want to say 150, I think. But what I realized is after those 2 years, going on the third year, I started gaining weight again. And I was like, I don't understand. I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing in the sense that you have to incorporate exercise. You have to be very careful what you eat. When you have a gastric sleeve, your stomach is so much smaller. So there is a fear that's ingrained, at least in my mind. If you overeat, you're going to stretch out that stomach. So it was almost fearful of what I was putting in my body. I was almost fearful to do something wrong. I'm a very stick by a script, check that box type of person. If you tell me to do something, I am going to do it exactly the way you tell me to do it. And I couldn't understand. And so that idea of failure kept coming into my mind because I had gone through so much. And I went through the surgery and I thought this was what was going to be the cure-all. And it's not. It is a tool that they tell you this is not a miracle. This is a tool you have to work with. So when I started gaining weight again, that's kind of where I came searching for a different solution, which led me to you. But that is a lot of the history. It's a long history. And, I was preparing for this a little bit. I didn't want to be mechanical. I was just kind of going through my history of kind of everything I've gone through. And I don't think I realized it because you live it. And until you go back and look back and, oh my gosh, all the steps I've been through, the different diets and the yo-yoing, and then hearing people say, well, you're not doing it right. When you know in your heart you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, but yet you're not being successful, you can almost see the disdain or almost like the sense of failure in another person's face when you're talking to them. And in your heart you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. And I knew there had been a better solution or a different solution, at least for me. So that's why I seeked you out at that time. So
yes, such a good story. And Josephine, you are 5'2". That's also
yes.
5'0".
No, yes.
Also,
she on is a good day. And I think I'm tricky too. So I don't know.
So 5 foot. That's important when you're talking about the different weights and things. So you came to me when you hit what number on the scale?
I was at 250. Oh, I'm sorry. I was at 80.
Okay. So, and then we got going. And we got working on things. And sometimes what I hear is people are just scared to call a place like Real Results,
right,
or a doctor or anything. They just feel that fail kind of feeling, and the phone can be really heavy. Did you have any obstacles with seeking? Like what kind of things did you have to get over?
So again, I will say there is a sense of every time I lose weight, I think, great, I've got it. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. This is awesome. When you start gaining weight, it's a self-doubt that comes in. I'm thinking, what have I missed? What am I doing wrong? There's even a point where I started gaining weight again after I did the gastric sleeve, after being thin for 2 years, right? And all of a sudden, I hadn't changed anything, started gaining weight. I thought, what is somebody else going to be able to provide me? Because I've done everything in my mind that I could do. I thought, I've done the gastric sleeve, which to me is invasive. You're going in and cutting an organ in your body in order for you to have a certain it wasn't just about looks at that point. It was also, now that I'm older, it's about my overall health, right? I want to be able to enjoy my retirement. So there's a lot of doubt. And I'm thinking, why am I going to reach out yet to another person to go through this whole story again, to be able to see that, again, that self-doubt I see in people's faces saying, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Although they don't verbally tell you, I kind of see that disappointment in the person's face. I didn't feel like going through that. So I was actually just saying, let me scroll and see what I could do. I actually work very close to here. The other thing I will say about my personality is most of my life is about work. My husband and I were not blessed with kids. So he owns his own business. So he dedicates a lot of his time to his company. And in human resources, I deal with a lot of employees, a lot of issues. So I deal a lot with that. So a lot of my time is not spent about me. I don't have a lot of time for self-reflecting about myself. So when I was looking for a program, I went online. I said, I want something that is going to talk to me and tell me, what is it that I need to do to actually resolve this and have a structure for the rest of my life that's going to make me healthy. I don't want to look at just a number on a scale. I want to look at overall what I look like, how I feel, and then how do I sustain that makes sense to my lifestyle. I'm not somebody who's going to be eating 1,200 calories a day. In fact, I will tell you, on some of the diets, when they told me I needed to eat that amount, I felt uncomfortable, and I saw the weight go up, and I'm thinking, I shouldn't be eating all of this. And a lot of times when I'll tell people, they're like, you're going in starvation mode unless you have that. So I did a search and your name came up. So Real Results. So I was reading it and I thought, this is close to the company. What would it hurt for me just to have a conversation? Because I wanted somebody at the end of the day just to listen to me. I know I was listening to some of your other podcasts and I was very impressed. My gosh, the last person you spoke to, she was amazing, but she was telling me her story and what she went through. And I love the fact that she went and almost interviewed for her the different options you have. I didn't do that. I actually saw something. I thought, I'm going to go and just get a conversation and see whether this is something I can do. So I had not gone through all these different researches because I have gone through so many different programs. I've done the Jenny Craig, I've done the Weight Watchers, I've done all that. And I know that wasn't the route I needed to go. So I actually went online, sent a message, responded back. There was a survey that came to me. I filled that out. And then I actually had a conversation, I believe it was with you.
Yeah.
And you were able to schedule an appointment with me. And so I knew as soon as I left that day that it was different. And what I mean by that, I know that sound, and it's an individual journey, but the difference that I felt when I came in here, I just kind of laid it out on the line. I said, look, I've gone through all this. I know how to diet. I know how to exercise, but there's something wrong. And I didn't get that story like, well, okay, you're supposed to be at 1,200 calories. You need to exercise this amount. I know it's what comes in needs to be burned off. We know that. But I need somebody to peel back the onion a little bit more and look at different layers. And that's what I found when I came in here. You started asking me questions. It wasn't just like, well, here's what you need to do, Josephine, and let's see you in a week. And again, understand other programs are fantastic. They do care about the person. It's not about that. I found a difference when I walked through the doors the first time at Real Results, just in the care and the entire staff. The fact that Dr. Millie is here, so there's a medical component to it, made me feel very secure because of my lupus and because of my history. But in speaking with you, you didn't just give me this platform solution, say, this is what we're going to follow. You told me, we will work through this and we will find what's right for you. And that's why when I walked away that day, I remember going home to my husband and saying, you know what, I have a little bit of a hope. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I feel like I've gone through everything, but this is the first time I actually feel like somebody listened to me and all the things I went through, and is probably going to have something that's more tapered to me. And I think that's what set Real Results apart from everything else I had gone through before, which is a very long history, as you know. So for me to be here and say that, I think that there's a certain aha moment that happens when you reach that point. And it happened when I walked through Real Results doors, I would say that.
That's so good to hear. And so when you came in for the first time, for the friends who don't know, we do a free evaluation, a free consultation, and we have that conversation. And we figure out where we want to start, and then we go for it. So let's see what we started with. So we did lab work. We did lab work, and then you saw Dr. Millie, and Dr. Millie diagnosed you with hypothyroid initially and insulin resistance, and which incidentally both cause weight gain or prevent weight loss. Did you know that you were struggling with a thyroid issue and insulin resistance before we tested for it?
And I think that's, again, I'll go back to that aha moment, because I'm like, even my husband said to me, Josephine, if you would have met Jamie, Dr. Millie, the entire staff, he said, you probably would have never had the gastric sleeve. And I will be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have. Now, again, there is a space for all of that. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a wonderful journey for me. The physicians and nurses that helped me through that process was fantastic. But if I would have known that there was a thyroid issue, and I had been have lupus, I see the doctor every 4 months. They take full panel, you know, looking at my kidneys, looking at everything, my heart, my brain, everything. So I would have thought somewhere along the line this would have come up. But Dr. Miller was the first person who looked at me and said, have you ever been tested for this? Are you aware that this can impact your weight? And I said, no. And through all the programs and all the surgery and all the, you know, exercising and looking at what and measuring every little inch of what I'm eating and everything and taking out salts and all this stuff, no one had ever spoken to me about my thyroid. So yes, it was a fantastic thing to know that it wasn't in my head. It wasn't a failure of something that I did, that there was actually a medical reason why the weight was coming off, but then it was coming back on again because I wasn't addressing what was the true cause. And a lot of times people say, well, the true cause is because you're overeating and everything. And I know that is not the case for me, because I'm usually at a calorie deficiency as opposed to a surplus. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you guys told me that there was a thyroid issue going on, I just felt like a sense of relief that it wasn't me as a failure. There was something else that was underlying that we were going to address, at least try to come up with a solution. So it was a sad message in one way, because at 56, you would have hoped you would have had this information previous. But still, it was great to know that there was another avenue that we were going to look at that wasn't just, Josephine, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, what I've heard over and over again. So,
well, I'm so glad that we found that and we tested for that, because some people don't even want to do the lab work. And I always encourage, if you're doing everything right, like that's the absolute next step, is to do some labs. So we started with, because this has been a journey, and I tell people, you know, the power is in the pivot. So we started with Semorlin. Mm-hmm. Semorlin is like a anti-aging meets weight loss peptide, and it helps the body produce human growth hormone, which helps increase your lean muscle mass, helps decrease fat mass, and it also helps improve the quality of your sleep. It also helps hair, skin, and nail health. We love that. Yeah. And so we started with the Semorlin, which was a really good fit for you. And we also tried some craving medications, and which worked, and lipo B12. We did some lipo B12 too, and I saw you weekly. We watched your body composition, and we watched the weight loss come down. And then I remember we hit a plateau. We kind of got really sticky. I think it was around the 40-pound mark. Wouldn't you say? We got 40 pounds down. We got stuck, and then the FDA approved the Semaglutide. And which changed the game. We were able to incorporate that with you because we monitor your labs every 3 months or 3 to 4, whatever the doctor wants us to do. And so we were already doing those labs. So it was a great solution to put that in there. Tell me about semaglutide and how that changed the game for you.
I will say I was a little bit hesitant because already being on lupus, I'm taking so much medicine and things like that. So I thought, okay, let me see what this does. But it was just a game changer for me because, again, it was not necessarily that I was overeating, but it was the combination of what you have put together for me. The semaglutide to me was that kickstart that I needed to get past that mark when I just stopped. Again, I think that what happens is you're supposed to be exercising, you're supposed to be eating within a certain amount of calories, and you're supposed to be eating, we ate a high protein, which I continue to do, right? Take away carbs and a lot of sugar. Again, the things that are sensible. But once you do all of that and nothing else helps and you kind of hit a plateau, this to me was like a game changer in the sense that I started seeing the weight loss again. I had no side effects. I know that was some of the things that people said. Sometimes you feel nausea. I was actually lucky not to have any of that. To me, it was actually something that made me feel better because I knew I was kind of excited for the day to happen because I wanted to check that box. I'm going to take my walk today. I'm going to eat this amount of protein and I'm going to take this benefit that's going to help me out with the journey. So it was to me another game changer in the sense that it stopped that plateau I hit. made me feel better and encouraged me even more to continue wanting to go down this journey because I was not hitting those roadblocks I had. This medicine took away to me the roadblocks that were in the way previously. I was not seeing that anymore. I can actually see a goal weight, which we had set a goal weight. And when I surpassed that goal weight
Yes.
and I kept going, I would attribute a lot to the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just the medicine. It's the support that I had at the site. It was working with you because you were like tweaking things, if that's a good way of terminology of saying it. You were seeing what worked for me because it's not a one size fits all. So the medicine was definitely a game changer, but it was also the support that I had in making sure the dosage was right and the other combinations of what I was eating and the amount of exercise I was having and the weekly check-ins that I had and the weigh-in, the metabolic balance between my fat to muscle ratio. All those combined together with the medicine was really what I needed to get past that plateau.
Yes. And we did it.
Yes,
we got past your goal weight. So you're, 90 pounds,
yes.
90 pounds.
I know.
Oh my gosh. It's so amazing. And again, if you fast forward and missed she's 5 feet.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Yeah. So it's a huge accomplishment. So congratulations on that. You. So some people don't understand that, as they're listening, right?
Sure.
Tell me about like your pant sizes or dress sizes,
Sure.
like what, when you started versus where you are now.
So when I started, I was wearing about, I'm going to say probably a 16, 14 in pants. On the top, I was extra large usually. And I can tell you that I can now wear, yes. I've given away so many things, but I enjoy going shopping again. Let's just say that. But so I started out at 14, 16 pants. I'm down to a size 4 now, which is amazing. I have size 6s and they're a little bit loose. So now I've got down to a 4, which is fantastic. Again, I know it's not the size, but you have to have certain markers that show success. And one of the things is you're, looking at the different clothes that you have and going out shopping and seeing you're going down a size. We have to celebrate those wins because there's so many things in life that can be distracting or maybe put a negative spin on things. These little wins, you really need to be able to take a moment and say, I've done it. I've seen something. So these markers are really important. I'm down to a size small as far as shirts are concerned. So it's amazing to go shopping and try something and say, I need to go down one size. That hasn't happened in a long time. So that's wonderful too. But it's just the way you feel in the clothes. It's the way when you go to the store, you're not panicking because you're saying, I don't know if they're going to have my size. Or I will say the other thing is because of the rapid weight gain that I had when I was sick, I had a lot of excess skin. And so that was another part of the journey too, was when I lost all of this, I had a significant amount of skin that even though I could, let's say, fit, when I went down from a 14, 16, I was going into size 10s or 8s. I always had to go up a size because I had to not wear anything that was form-fitting because of that extra skin that I had. And so continuing to lose weight helped a lot in that, where I could feel comfortable in wearing something maybe that was form-fitting, where before I would never even dreamed of having it. And I will say, when I started this journey, that was not even one of my thoughts. My thought was, I need to be healthy because I have the lupus. I want to be able to make sure that my weight is controllable, that my fat content versus my muscle is something that makes sense so that I am not struggling in some type of medical perspective. What I didn't realize is all the other benefits that go along with it, which is the way you feel, which is going to be, I'm shrinking, that flap of skin that I had is shrinking also. All those things that you don't think about because you're just looking at that number or, how I'm doing with the doctors. So it was amazing to see all these other things that morphed along the way with this journey. So, so now I am down to, I just got weighed in at 112.6. Oh my gosh. Amazing.
So exciting.
Yes. And it was not that that wasn't the goal. The goal was to get healthy. My boy said, I just want to be healthy. Whatever that size is, whatever that number is, I just need to be healthy. So when I was looking at the fat versus muscle that I come in every Friday to check, that's what I'm looking at. The rest of it is just, I would say, a success factor of doing the right thing and have the support you guys have been able to provide me. So it's the entire program that makes you successful. It's not just that number on the scale. So yes. I have to say that.
I love that. Are there any other pleasant surprises that you had during the journey?
So I will say, I was because of the skin I had, one of the things I always wanted in my head was to get plastic surgery done. I had seen physicians actually in 2018 when I relocated here. I'm sorry, 2008 when I relocated here, I actually went to a plastic surgeon and they said, Josephine, because of the weight that you have, you're going to have to be doing a lot of skin removal, but more important, liposuction, all of this stuff. And I thought, you know what? I don't know what that's going to make me look like. Because I was able to get the weight off, right, and take all the medicine and do everything I needed to do, and I got to the weight that I am, I saw the same actual surgeon. She's fantastic. And she also is, because I had to go to a surgeon who understood also my background and my history and my medical with the lupus. She actually said, Josephine, you are now at a point, because of all the weight you lost, to get just the skin removal. You don't even need the liposuction anymore. And it's going to be such a huge thing, such a huge difference. So I sat with my husband and said, I'm at a point where I can do this. He said, let's get it done. You're at that point. This is the last part of your journey, I believe. Let's do this. And so last year in November, I was able to get the surgery done where I got the skin removal. And she told me, Josephine, I removed 5 pounds. And I thought, what? I've done all this and you've only removed 5 pounds. And I didn't realize how much that was. But the 5 pounds of skin removal and seeing where I am now, I feel like I'm a completely different person. Even my husband looks at me and he says, you've lost weight before, he said, but your body looks completely different, because actually now I think I am where I need to be. I'm at a shape where I need to be, where I don't have those scars that I carried from when I was sick way back in my 19, 20, 21 and so on. It's that removal of skin was also kind of I got rid of what was in the past and I have a new future in front of me, which sounds a little bit maybe exaggerated because it's a weight loss journey, but a weight loss journey is individual for each person. But for me, I can tell you that last phase of the skin removal and doing the tummy tuck basically was kind of the aha moment that I needed to be able to say, I think I'm where I need to be. And I look back, I did everything I needed to get to where I am right now, but I feel like I reached my final goal. I can finally say that.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
You did.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And you look fantastic.
Thank you.
And I love how, it isn't about the number on the scale. It really is how you feel. And I completely believe in the power of when you look and you feel your best from the inside out, you are just a better person in your world, right? Like, you're a better wife, you're a better, staff member, in your HR, and you have this more confidence and you feel good. And that's, you can't really put a price on that. You really can't.
You're right. Exactly. And I will say one other thing. I do believe, so I am spiritual in that sense. I do believe that God puts people in front of you for a reason. And I will say, yes. So when just to think that I was just looking for, a program or an organization to go to, and your name came up, and that I came in and I met you. I think that God puts people in front of you for a reason. And I don't think I can honestly say that I would be where I am right now unless I was able to meet you and the staff. So everything does happen for a reason. I do think that my journey might be different from somebody else's, but you need to take the best of it. And I will say, when I look back at this journey, it's not just the friendship I made, because when I come in here, I always say it's like Norm at Cheers. If you remember the program, everybody is a family here. So you have that. So it's the friendships I made. It's the tools that I have. But when I look back on this, it's an entire experience, I think, that defined a portion of my life as well. So it's not just a weight loss. It's an entire experience I take away when I walk away from here too. So,
yes, I love that. I know your story is going to inspire so many. It inspires me. It's really why we do what we do. I mean, it's so fun to get to the end of the journey.
Yeah.
Hi, friend. I hope you are enjoying this episode so far. And I know that weight loss can be overwhelming, and sometimes you don't even know where to start. Well, I have a quiz for you to help you get over that first step. So it's called Which Weight Loss Prescriptions Are Right for You? And it's going to ask you questions on your medical history and your lifestyle. And the resource can be found on my website at realresultsforlife.com, and click on the appetite suppressant section. By doing this quiz, it can point you in that right direction. And sometimes you just have to take that first step to get your real results. So I'm going to ask you a few questions for the friends listening. So what would you tell someone who is thinking about losing weight and making a healthy change in their life? What would you tell them?
So I would say stop listening to that little voice in your head that says no or you can't, and start thinking positive. Pick up the phone, make the call. It might not be the exact solution you need, but you won't know unless you make that phone call. Come in, listen to everybody, listen to everybody's story. Your journey is going to be different. So do not judge your journey off of somebody else's. It's whatever you put in, you're going to take out, right? But I would say make the call and get the information, because unless you take that first step, you'll never know whether it's right for you. But I would encourage everybody to do it. Take that first step would be the one thing I would say. Don't be scared to invest in yourself, because that's the other thing too. As females, I feel more so than anything else, not that men don't do this, but as a female, I know I have a big group of professional, very successful women that are in my life that I'm privileged enough to call them my friends. And the one thing I know we all have in common is that we're always striving for that perfection, whether it's in our career, with our family, for ourselves and everything. And there's a moment that you look at and you say, you can be flawed and still be successful. And so to surround yourself with people who can show the best in you, coming into Real Results gave me the group of friends and females that I needed to show the best in me when it came to this journey. So I would encourage you to at least try to see if that's something that works for you, because unless you do that and surround yourself with the right people, you won't be successful. For me, it was Real Results. I would encourage you to try the same thing too.
I love it. I love it. What was the biggest piece of the program here that you found helpful? Like if you had to say, it was this piece that was the best.
I think that coming in every week was very important for me. Having the meetings and being able to see my weight on a scale and then see the difference between my body composition was very important to me, because I am a check-a-box, as I mentioned before. Those numbers were critical for me. Just sitting and speaking to somebody wasn't enough. I needed to have a black and white in front of me that said, you're moving the needle, or you need to tweak this. So I think the accountability, that weekly check-in was critical for me. The program overall worked very well for me, but I think the friendships, the accountability, the numbers, that portion of coming in here was probably the most critical in my journey to make me successful, for sure.
I love it. I love it. So if someone was thinking about calling Real Results, what would you tell them?
Do it.
Yes. Pick up the phone, right?
I would say do your homework, because of course the program needs to be best for you, right? If you have a loved one, speak to them. Just talk to them about what you really want. I think you need to start by looking internally and say, what is it that you want to achieve? Is it weight loss? Is it getting healthy? Is it changing your body composition? Is it having somebody that you hold yourself accountable? What is it that you want? And then knowing that first, then come in to make that appointment, and then come in and speak to everyone, speak to the staff. Because unless you know what you want to achieve, I think that no program is going to work for you. So I think that, I would say first do your homework of what you want to achieve. Know what it is that you want. Then come in with those questions. And I would encourage people to write it down so that you come in, because at least me, I will forget something. So if I have it written down, I'll walk away with all the information I need. But I would say do those things first, and then pick up the phone and call. Even just have a first conversation with you, just to see whether or not, hey, this will work for you or not. Because I can say the entire time, because it's been over a year now that I've been with you, you have never, ever provided something that was not needed for me specifically. You have never said, we've tried this with this person, try it for you. You always said, Josephine, this will work for you, or let's try this because I believe it will work for you. And I think that's what people need to come in and make sure that they're asking those questions that are specific to them. So just do it is what I would say.
I love it. I love it. So as we kind of finish up this conversation, do you have a weight loss tip to share? Something that someone could just do today if they wanted to lose weight or be healthier? Do you have like a life hack or something like that?
So I will say the one thing that I was discouraged about is always about having that, you have to have 1,000 calories, you have to have 1,200 calories. That doesn't always work for everybody. So I would say first find out what is it caloric intake that you need to have that actually works for your body. As you mentioned, I'm barely 5 foot on a good day, and I know I'm getting shorter as time goes on. Thank goodness for heels. But know what works for your body. I think that would be number one. But also, I would say that for me, the struggle is always getting food in, which is such a strange thing, because most people say, oh, you're overweight, you must be eating everything in the world. No, I'm not. So there are other things going on. So food is very important in this journey. So I think knowing what works for you, the amount of calories you have to have in, the foods that you need to take in. I do concentrate more on protein than anything else because, of course, of your muscle, building your muscles and working out and everything. But I think that if you can know what you need to intake for your own body and what that food looks like, and you have a program and you're doing your food prep when possible, and you have smart choices when you're going to a restaurant, if you can do the food portion and know what works best for you, I think you're already, if not 50%, at least 80% there when it comes to this entire journey, I would think. And it's also for the benefit of you as you get older as well, being knowing those things about you, because your body does change as you age. So you do want to be able to tweak that and know what that looks like as age goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and knowledge is half the battle.
Right.
You know, if you can really know what's going to be best for you and what's going to work for you metabolically, but also your lifestyle, right? Like, you know, a program for a flight attendant is going to be different than someone who's in HR, who's, you know, or stuck at a computer, or an accountant, or, you know, something like that. So
I will say one of the tips that you had given me is that I always thought that I had to sit down and eat my meal. I had to have my protein, my vegetable, and my liquid, whatever it's going to be. Usually it's water of some sort. It's nice to know that I can grab, you know, a strip of chicken, grilled chicken, and just eat that and still meet my weight loss journey, right? Because not everything fits where you're sitting in front of a table and having that meal. Our lives really are on the run all the time. And so knowing that I can, you know, pick up a piece of chicken, or, you know, have an apple if I need it, whatever that situation is going to be, and still meet my weight loss journey was huge. It wasn't those parameters that I had to have where all the other programs said. You were able to make it easy that fit into my lifestyle. And that was critical too, because I am on the run a lot. So that is important that you taper it for yourself and what works for you.
And that's what we're all about.
Yes,
I love it so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I am so thankful that you took the time to be here, and your story is amazing. I mean, 90 pounds, life change. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you guys have done too. So
absolutely. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Real Results for Life podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it educational, inspiring, and full of action steps that you can implement right away in your health and wellness journey. I have a bonus pro tip for you. If you're truly committed to reaching your goals, then hit that subscribe button so that you can stay connected with us and receive regular doses of motivation and tips to keep you moving forward on your journey towards success. And hey, if you are ready to take that next step and really dive deep into your goals, why not book a free phone consultation with me or one of my Real Results team members to design a program specifically for you? We're here to support you every step of the way, and it's what we love to do. Booking that free phone consultation is easy. Just go to realresultsforlife.com and click the Book Now button. Let's start turning your dreams into reality today. Thank you again for tuning in, and until next time, keep pushing toward your weight loss goals, stay motivated, and believe in yourself. You've got this.